and welcome to this video of 7 things I learned while traveling solo. I'm Giant Cheerio, a bicycle traveler. I've been on the road for quite a while now, and yeah, I want to share 7 things I've learned. Number 1. You are not alone. And I don't mean that in a creepy way. It's just the fact that people often fear of going on a trip by themselves because they're afraid of being alone all the time, or just they don't know how to handle some alone time by themselves. And one thing I've learned is that wherever you are, you will meet people. You will meet like-minded people on the road. You will meet people in villages, in small towns, in cities. And you're not the only one out there on the road. And there are many, many like-minded people. And the good thing is, whenever you meet somebody, you can still decide whether you want to travel by yourself, whether you want to be alone, or whether you want to enjoy the company. Number 2, you can do it by yourself. I gotta be honest, before going on my bikepacking trip, I always thought I wasn't capable of doing stuff properly, and I always did the stuff that had to be done in kind of like a messy way, and I always botched up my work. I did stuff in a careless manner because it wasn't important to me. And so, I thought of myself as being a cheater, or that I couldn't trust myself when doing something. That changed completely when I started bikepacking because I had to rely on myself. Flat tire? I had to patch the tire very carefully because I wanted to keep on moving. The brake doesn't work properly. I had to inform myself, and I had to know how to fix this problem in order to keep on going safely. I learned that I'm capable of learning and that I'm capable of doing stuff very, very carefully. Today, I can trust myself, and I know when I do some repair work and I don't know how to do it, I inform myself, I know how to get things done, then I do it, and I trust myself, I trust my skills, and I know that I will keep on riding safely. Next one, go with the flow. And by that, I mean, don't overplan, don't worry too much, just trust your intuition and go. Just give it a go. And instead of worrying or thinking about tomorrow or next week or next month, just go with the flow, don't think too much. I really learned to enjoy the moment. And whenever I had a problem, I just told myself that there will be a solution waiting around the corner. And most of the time, the problem was not even a real problem, because one thing comes to another and you meet people or people find you, and there will always be a solution. So I learned to go with the flow. The 4th thing I learned is people are willing to help and people are willing to support you. My entire life, I always wanted to do things on my own. I didn't want to ask for help, I didn't want to get help, I just wanted to get things done by myself because I thought getting help meant being weak. While living my life on the road, I just realized that support and help connects people. People want to help and people want to support each other. I learned that it has nothing to do with being weak or not being strong enough if you ask for help. And so I learned that whenever I'm in need of support or help, I just ask somebody. I learned that the world is not as bad as most people say. There are so many kind people out there, and you just gotta open your heart and ask for help. Ask for support, just try to say yes. And that brings me to the next point. I learned to say yes. I don't know if that's part of my upbringing or if that's a cultural thing, but whenever people offered me something, I tend to say no. No, thank you very much. Oh no, that's not necessary, thank you. People offered me food, a place to sleep, a shower, and I just said no because I didn't want to make any inconveniences, which is so stupid. I mean, what the heck? You want that second piece of cake? Just say yes. People want to invite you for a coffee? Yes, sure, thank you very much. Just say yes, be thankful, and accept the fact that people are offering stuff because they want to do it. And of course, if you don't want something because you just don't want to, or you have a weird gut feeling, then just say no, and that's all right. But please don't just say no because of being too shy, or you don't want to disturb, or you don't want to make any inconveniences. If people offer something, they are willing to give, they're willing to spend time with you, and they're willing to support you. So please say yes. Next one, let's talk about fear. Fear often only exists in your head. So let me make one thing clear. Fear can be a good thing. It's like an alarm, and our mind and body, or both of them, are telling us there is something going on and we might be in danger. So fear in general is not a bad thing. But sometimes I tend to fear about stuff that is just ridiculous. So when I have fear, I ask myself, is this fear justified? And is it necessary to have fear right now in this moment? Because most of the time, the fear is just inside my head and there's no reason to have fear. I'd say a ridiculous type of fear is like the fear of talking to people when they're talking not in your mother tongue, or the fear of asking people for help, or for me, it's the fear of sleeping alone outside. To be honest, I've been sleeping outside for more than 1 year in my tent. Still, from time to time, I have fear that there might be somebody sneaking around my tent. But within all the time I was traveling, that never happened. Of course, you gotta be careful, and especially when traveling solo as a woman, you gotta be careful and you gotta watch out, and you have to make yourself feel comfortable. But when I lay in my tent and that fear starts crawling up from my gut to my chest to my head, then I just ask myself, is it necessary right now to have fear? Because nobody saw me cycling this path, nobody saw me setting up my camp, and there was nobody. So who the heck should be here in the middle of nowhere waiting for a bikepacker to I don't know, set up the tent in the middle of nowhere? Like, the chance of that happening is really, really low. Of course, there are risks, and of course, there are bad things happening in this world, but panicking doesn't help. So yeah, I just made myself clear that most of my fears only exist in my head. And the last thing I realized while traveling solo is you are stronger than you think you are. Most of my life, I was impressed by people. I was impressed by people doing stuff like going on a journey, running a marathon, conquering a mountain, or working self-employed. And I was always like, oh, I could never ever do this. I could never ever survive out there. I'm too weak. My fitness level isn't good enough. I could never ever do it alone, and blah, 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 blah. But while being on the road, I ended up in so many up bullshit situations, and I just had to continue. I had to do something. I couldn't just stop in the middle of the road and say, I can't do this anymore. I'm too weak. I just can't. No, that's not an option. So a couple of times I went beyond my limits because I had to. There was no other choice. Today, I know that I'm way stronger than I thought I was. I can trust myself, I'm so powerful, and I know the next bullshit situation might come, and I'm prepared because I know who I am, and I know that I'm stronger than I think I am. And these were the 7 things I learned while traveling solo. Stay tuned and hit the subscribe button, and to stay up to date, you can follow me on Instagram. If you have any questions regarding the bikepacking, traveling solo, or whatever it might be, just let me know in the comments, and hopefully I can answer some of your questions in an upcoming video. Cheerio, goodbye, salut, and adios.